Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Janice Lo. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Xi Jinping lays down the guidelines for better relations during a meeting with Antony Blinken. Cathay Pacific is to hire mainlanders as flight attendants, but says Hongkongers will remain in the majority. And the Hong Kong stock market launches a new trading model, giving the yuan a higher profile. President Xi Jinping has told U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken that bilateral relations must be based on mutual respect and sincerity. Their meeting capped a two-day visit to Beijing by the top U.S. diplomat amid hopes of easing bilateral tensions. Azam Khan reports.
Good afternoon.
Beijing kept U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken guessing whether his landmark visit to China will include a meeting with President Xi Jinping. Eventually, they met at the Diaoyutai State Guest House in the capital. It was their first encounter in 7 months when Blinken accompanied U.S. President Joe Biden to the G20 summit in Bali. Since then, relations between the two superpowers have nosedived. In his opening remarks, Xi noted that talks between Blinken and Chinese officials since yesterday had been candid and in-depth. Xi said the two sides had made progress and reached agreement on specific issues. He told Blinken that he hopes the visit will help to stabilize Sino-US relations. Both sides agreed to have continuity from the understandings reached in Bali between Xi and Biden.
Here in Beijing, I had an important conversation with President Xi Jinping, and I had candid, substantive, and constructive discussions with my counterparts, Director Wang Yi and State Councilor Qin Gang. I appreciate the hospitality extended by our hosts. In every meeting, I stress that direct engagement and sustained communication at senior levels is the best way to responsibly manage our differences and ensure that competition does not veer into conflict. And I heard the same from my Chinese counterparts. We both agree on the need to stabilize our relationship.
Earlier in the day, Blinken met China's top diplomat Wang Yi, who said it was necessary to make a choice between dialogue and confrontation, cooperation and conflict. Wang urged the United States not to assume that China is seeking dominance. They agreed that it's vital to continue discussions, but there were no signs that either side is closing the gap on major issues dividing the planet's two largest economies. Experts say the visit is a prelude to a potential meeting between Xi and Biden on the sidelines of the APEC summit in San Francisco later this year. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
Cathay Pacific is to start recruiting flight attendants from the mainland from next month. But the airline pledged that Hong Kong staff will continue to be in the majority. Almost a month after Cathay Pacific sacked 3 flight attendants for allegedly discriminating against non-English-speaking passengers during a flight from Chengdu to Hong Kong, the airline unveiled what it called enhancement measures. Starting next month, Hong Kong's flag carrier will start recruiting cabin crew from the mainland. Cathay Chief Executive Ronald Lam said the move will provide more Putonghua coverage and increase diversity among flight attendants. Although the airline will continue to recruit staff from all over the world, Lam emphasized that most of the crew will be from Hong Kong, the airline's home city. Cathay will provide additional training for flight attendants to improve the customer-centered culture. With an increase in Putonghua-speaking passengers, mainland flights will see an increase in crew members who speak the language. This will ensure Putonghua announcements on every domestic flight from August. The arrangement will be extended to international flights later. Passengers will know what languages flight attendants speak by looking at their name tags. There will be a new monthly allowance for crew members who are fluent in at least 2 Asian languages. Lam said the airline is still investigating the discrimination allegations which went viral and will see what needs to be improved. The suspect in a double murder in Diamond Hill earlier this month is fit to enter a plea, according to 2 psychiatric reports. Sito Sing Kwong appeared in Kwun Tong Magistracy this morning, accused of fatally stabbing 2 women in their 20s in Plaza Hollywood. The case was adjourned to October to allow police to investigate further. Sito will remain in custody. A group that helps underprivileged households has welcomed a pilot scheme to provide after-school care for primary students. But the Society for Community Organization says the project will benefit only a small fraction of those in need. Macy Mok reports.
A government plan to provide after-school care services for primary students has been gaining support. Children from poor households will not have to pay for the pilot project, which begins in September.
Actually, many of our women, they reflect that they want to find a job because the family income is low, and also they worry about their children cannot catch up with their curriculum from school because they don't have money to pay for the tutorial class. So you provide the childcare and also the tutorial class and even the extracurricular activity in school for those underprivileged children. It's good for the development of those underprivileged children and also can support those women or the parents, they can go out to work.
Around 3,000 primary students are set to benefit from the $99 million pilot scheme. But Tzu said the government should expand the project after 6 months.
For those primary school children, they're living in poverty, there will be at least 100,000. And then not including also be all those under 6 years old, also they need the child care.
Under the scheme, non-profit organizations will look after the children until around 6 or 7 p.m. on school days. Tzu said the service should also be available on public holidays or before school starts to help parents who work irregular hours. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Socialite Abby Choi has been cremated 4 months after her grisly murder shocked Hong Kong. The cremation came after her family and friends paid tribute for a second day at the Po Folk Memorial Hall in Tai Wai. A hearse covered with pink flowers carried Choi's coffin to the Polin Monastery in Lantau. Hundreds of mourners followed. The 28-year-old socialite went missing in February. Parts of her dismembered body were later found in a Tai Po village house. Choi's former husband and 3 members of his family were arrested and will appear in court next month. Overseas, a 15-year-old boy was among 3 Palestinians killed in an Israeli raid in which helicopter gunships were deployed. At least 29 other Palestinians were injured, at least 6 of them seriously. A number of attackers were also hurt when a roadside bomb exploded, according to Israeli media reports. Israel said its troops came under attack when they raided the occupied West Bank city of Jenin to make an arrest. 1 Palestinian was detained. North Korea has admitted that the recent botched launch of a spy satellite was its biggest failure this year. At a ruling Workers' Party meeting presided by Kim Jong-un, top officials vowed to make a second attempt. A rocket carrying the surveillance satellite crashed soon after liftoff at the end of last month. Those in charge were heavily criticized. Kim wants a space-based surveillance system so that Pyongyang can monitor South Korean and American military activity. The yuan has taken another step towards becoming a global currency with the launch of the dual counter model by the Hong Kong stock market. This allows investors to use the yuan or the Hong Kong dollar to trade in the shares of 24 companies listed in the SAR.
This new dual counter offering further supports the internationalization of the renminbi, strengthens Hong Kong's role as an offshore renminbi hub, and provides investors with greater choice and diversification opportunities. The greatest significance of today's launch is that it supports renminbi internationalization.
The 24 firms offering shares in the Hong Kong dollar and yuan include many market favorites. Their combined shares account for over 1/3 of the total value of the local stock market and make up around 40% of the average daily turnover. They include tech giants Alibaba and Tencent and food delivery platform Meituan. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended today down 127 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund was down 14 cents, Tencent was down $5.80, while Alibaba was down $1.90. AIA was up 35 cents, Kuaishou was down $2.10, while BYD Company was down by 60 cents. To the foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.54, the pound sterling is at 10.01, and the Australian dollar is at 5.35. Over in Europe, the London FTSE 100 is currently down by 33 points. Hong Kong's unemployment rate remains at a 3.5-year low of 3%. After easing for 12 months in a row, the jobless rate between March and May was unchanged from the 3% in the previous 3-month period ending in April. There were 1,300 fewer unemployed persons last month. Labour Secretary Chris Sun expects the labour market to keep improving as the economy continues to recover. On to the weather now. Hot in the afternoon with sunny periods and a few showers. Temperatures will range between 28 and 32 degrees. Expect similar conditions through the week. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Janice Lo. Thanks for watching. Good night.